to the streets all across the country in a nationwide protest against the snooping. And the event was organised.
The two brothers, well, according to investigators, they actually had planned to hit New York City on July the 4th. So July 4th, one of those major holidays that law enforcement...
Holding down and forcing someone to submit to this is really intrusive in terms of that.
Said it seems that this is to do with something called network hygiene. It is raising questions about that suppression of information, and to talk more about that...
That is how we start up second two of Hearts and Minds.
Yes, well, you know, the U.S. is doing such a fine job of showing off their foreign policy, but now we're going to talk about their domestic policy.
You know, it is me, Darren Howard.
And me, Robert Nisbet.
Independent radio for an intelligent world using our intellects. Well, we bring the stories that mainstream media kind of forgets. Okay, let's check this out.
The leaks about the NSA's surveillance sparked massive outrage towards the Obama administration, not only in its major target of Europe, but among the people of the US too. And American citizens have taken to the streets all across the country in a nationwide protest against the snooping. And the event was organised by a new online movement called Restore the Fourth, and it calls on the government to respect the Fourth Amendment in the Bill of Rights, which protects citizens from unreasonable searches and seizures. Well, protests are taking place, as I say, in all major cities across the states. And for details, Kelly Bike, a co-organizer of the rally in Los Angeles, joins me now. Kelly, a lot of anger, clearly, and a lot of protests throughout the states. But according to latest reports, not exactly a huge turnout. So are the American people really that bothered about this?
I mean, I think it is definitely something that people are angry about, and I think people feel helpless to make change. We're trying to provide a way for people to channel their voices and to be able to be heard. We're reaching out to our representatives. We're trying to sign and petitions and get legislation, and we want democracy to be heard, and we're acting upon that today by coming out. We already have double our numbers in the last 24 hours. We have almost 500 people planning on coming out today in just LA, and there's dozens of these rallies being organized across the U.S. So there is a lot of anger. I think it's just finding a way for us to actually express that and finding a way for us to actually engage in democracy to make this happen.
Good to talk to you, Kelly. Thank you very much indeed. Kelly Bike,
Thank
co-organizer
you.
of the Restore the Fourth rally in Los Angeles here on RT. Thanks a lot.
You know, that one really is for all of my friends who are trying to make change out there. What's she saying, okay?
Well, yeah, you have to stand up for what you believe in and demand your rights back.
That's right. And it gets very frustrating for the activists down in the Americans, because that was supposedly the land of the free, supposedly the home of the brave, and it's International Irony Day on July the 4th.
Exactly, you know, independence.
Yeah, I know. It kind of kills me. You know what? The last one that we rushed right through because we're looking at this amazing outpouring of international nonsense surrounding Obama's visit overseas. And then we jump right into the fourth. She made a really good point, okay? During that interview, she said, they said, well, why aren't people interested? She goes, no, people are kind of depressed. They don't feel that a change can be made.
And maybe there is a chilling effect as well from all these revelations.
Yes. Also, you got to realize there's a huge infrastructure of very cynical, very angry people that need to maintain the sense of government the way it is. They were raised with it. Older people think that their Social Security depends on it. Oh, our grocery stores will fail. In many ways, these systems do have to fail, but they're really fighting it.
Exactly.
Okay, they're part of the matrix, and what you put up with is your own relative saying, oh, well, you're a wacko, or, you know, you're radical, or you're revolutionary. Yeah, because I'm logical.
And if you're doing nothing wrong, you've got nothing to worry about.
No.
I like my privacy. Humans are intrinsically private.
Yes. So now the NSA proved that we really do intellectually have to get out, make change the way that it occurs, start following some people like Martin Luther King and Gandhi. But don't get depressed, because we're going to talk about some serious solutions coming up here. But I do, yes?
Oh, yes, of course, you know, because they have to keep that iron boot on the throat of the people.
And this is an excellent example of them maintaining the old paradigm of thinking to their own peril, okay? They just went a little far.
This is a story you're only going to see on Fox 11. We are working with the LA County Sheriff's Department on Operation Independence. Now, this is a major high visibility drill. Now, the entire idea here is to prepare for a terrorist attack, and it is also to give riders, people who use public transportation, a sense of security. You'll remember back in Boston, the Boston Marathon bombings. Well, those took place on Patriots Day, and the two brothers, well, according to investigators, they actually had planned to hit New York City on July the 4th. So July 4th, one of those major holidays that law enforcement always focuses on, high alert, security being ramped up across the country. No exception here in Los Angeles. Now, they tell us there is no credible threat. A short while ago, we spoke to the LA County Sheriff's Department Chief of Homeland Security.
We have a very high visibility exercise going on. It'll be going on for a couple days. Folks that ride the transit system will see more than the usual amount of deputies. We're practicing for a very high visibility response that could be in response to a threat or an actual activity that takes place somewhere in the United States.
Now, the key words here are high visibility, but let me tell you, it's what you won't see that also counts. A lot of undercover agents in those crowds. There are going to be a lot of police officers, a lot of sheriff deputies, a lot of Department of Homeland Security agents today. Reporting live from Union Station in downtown Los Angeles, I'm Gigi Graciette. We'll send it back to you.
So while she spouts off all the hype and propaganda, remember this. The heightened visible actions that were taken in Boston failed the entire Boston Police Department, the FBI, and the NSA because all of that nonsense failed to catch the bombers. It was civilians who caught him.
Yeah.
So why are they propagating insanity?
Well, I don't know about you, but seeing people armed with automatic rifles makes me feel more secure.
Yeah. Yeah, young people with a lack of training and no accountability.
And, of course, you're eight times more likely to be killed by a law enforcement person than by a terrorist.
Yes,
so let's make them more heavily armed.
In no way, shape, or form, turning this country into a police state or North America, is that going to create any sense of security or safety. And it's ludicrous. But then again, they've got paychecks to protect, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Of course, they also can't let the Army know what they're doing either.
And pay attention to this, because this is messed up.
This information is regarding reports in the US media that the US military, it seems, have admitted to them that they have been filtering content regarding government surveillance programs. And this came on the back of reports about complaints from a US base in San Francisco that the staff there weren't able to access any of the UK Guardian website and only partial access to the US Guardian website. They said, it seems, that this is to do with something called network hygiene. It is raising questions about that suppression of information, and to talk more about that, I'm joined by political analyst Rodney Shakespeare. Thank you very much for joining us. Are the US military justified in, preserving their system in this way?
It's nothing to do with network hygiene. It is straight attempt to suppress and to control what is being read and understood by, in this case, the soldiers. The other side of the coin is the American government and the British government are looking at all the internet, all the mobile appliances, all the landline telephones of you, me, American citizens, British citizens, and every single person watching this program. But it's part of an overall increasing encroachment on free speech and access to information.
The Department of Defense actually said in their response that they're not going to block websites from the American public in general, and that would violate, they said, the highest held principle of upholding and defending the Constitution. So they've made it clear this is just the parts of the US system.
They are lying. When they talk about democracy, they arm throat slitters, gas chokers and head choppers. When they talk about free speech, they are shutting down as many things as they do. You've no reason now to believe one single thing that the American government says. The bottom line of all this, they're out to control the information, and they normally do it by omission in the American channels. Not so much they lie, they just don't tell the truth.
So network hygiene.
Network hygiene.
Yeah.
That's a propaganda.
That's an Orwellian, probably some kind of Orwellian word. I don't know. It's like,
Politica speak, that sort of thing.
The Ministry of Truth.
Yes. I'm surprised they don't actually put the poster up, okay, of, obey and you are free.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. if you take a look at a lot of the people who are talking about big social change out there, they're recognizing the American, well, and in Canada, we're turning into this bizarre police state.
I know.
For no reason.
Well,
the
because
crime
of
rate
fear.
goes down. Our violent crime rate goes down substantially in 30 years.
But they keep ramping up the fear.
Yeah, gotta be afraid.
Gotta be afraid. Be afraid.
But this one, and this is adult content, okay? So we are warning you right now. The images we're about to show are rather disturbing because the police state in the States is in full effect right now.
Absolutely.
What they're doing at the Gwinnett County Jail is strapping down suspected drunk drivers to a gurney so a nurse can take their blood. Evidence that can be used against them later in court, even though the suspects refuse to give their consent.
What country is this? What country is this?
David Boyle is a former Gwinnett prosecutor, now defense attorney.
Holding down and forcing someone to submit to this is really intrusive in terms of that level of invasive procedure into somebody's body is ridiculous for investigating a misdemeanor.
Intrusive, certainly. Invasive, you bet. But legal. Yes, say authorities, even though the law supposedly gives you a choice. In January, Gwinnett County's DUI task force started forced blood draws, but with one big difference from Douglas County.
We all are American citizens, and you guys got me strapped to a table like I'm in Guantanamo Bay.
At the Gwinnett County Jail, every forced blood draw begins with strapping down the suspect on a padded table and putting them in a head grasp. Every time, whether they're compliant or complaining. And it's not just male DUI suspects. This woman eventually pled no contest. Another is still waiting for her day in court. Both showed no resistance, but deputies still strapped them down.
They told me I'm arrested. They're taking my blood without my consent.
Michael Charorsky's only DUI arrest turned into the worst night of his life. He's yet to go to trial and says he's not guilty.
There was no accident.
There was no accident.
Did anybody get hurt?
No one was hurt in my stop at all. I'm a tax-paying American who refused something. Regardless of what happens after the fact, I refuse to do this.
I'm not fighting you, dude. Don't push me too hard. I'm not fighting you.
What happened to me in that room was unnecessary, and nobody should have to do that.
So in order to combat such fascism, you have to keep your spirit alive. You have to keep positive. Being faced with somebody so military and myopic, they would actually tie someone to a stretcher?
I mean, that has really totalitarian ramifications.
And the fact that there's old people out there who would say, no, that's appropriate. Oh, you should do that. That's sick.
That is
twisted.
Really sick.
Okay? But you have to have the balance on the other side. When you're offended by such things, you really have to take control of your spirit and realize we aren't those guys, and we do have the ability to change things right now. You got to get informed and get people out there, okay?
Just start acting like adults.
I mean, come on. And if you're part of the military, you're part of the NSA, remember this, and I know you're recording. My name's Darren Howard. I said the words bomb parts. Deal with it.
Terrorist cell. My name is Robert Nisbet.
Our watchwords to set off the NSA thing because they're creepy and weird and do such things. Remember, you are the solution. You're the one who makes a difference because your mind is open. We're part of that support structure, urging you to start your own radio station or newspaper, but above all, never stop speaking the truth. We got segments coming up. What are we talking about?
Oh, we got Vatican shenanigans.
Let's do it right here. Maybe going up out of order. Jump around our YouTube channel. And thanks for joining us. You are the solution. Be the solution. Enjoy it.